Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on Project Management Professional. Basically, a new certification course that we are offering as part of IT Learn. And I'm glad to have Sirisha join me in this session. In fact, she's the one who's going to drive the entire session and the presentation going forward. Sirisha, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks,
Eh,
Karthik.
All right, great, awesome. So, team, just wanted to give you a very quick introduction about Sirisha, so you know about her background and her specialty, and then I will let her drive through the remaining slides. Primarily, team Sirisha herself is a PMP certified project manager. She's spent over 12 years in the IT industry, ranging from project management, quality management, application development, and services. She had worked in multiple geographies, India, US, UK, and she has worked in both the authorities of from a client perspective and from an IT vendor, and she's seen that entire 9 yards of different engagement models, be it managed services, typical time and material engagements, or even fixed price, scope driven, very stringent SLA based engagements. In fact, through her experience of this over a dozen years, she's managed engagements in both that on-site offshore models, ranging from five to about to the upper side of 45 odd resources. And again, large clients through the overall idea of how these companies work the entire IT life cycle. Apart from this, she's also someone who's actively engaged in providing trainings on a constant basis on project management, quality, and the QA best practices. Sirisha, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you being here and driving this entire session forward. All on to you. Your screen is being shared, so I will go back on mute and be on listen mode. Thank you.
Thanks, Karthik, for giving such a brief introduction about me, and hopefully by the end of the session, even all the team members who have joined in would also know about what I'm talking about in this course and what we want to try to achieve by doing this course. Okay, so welcome everyone. Um, as Karthik has already provided the introduction about me, so I don't need to introduce myself, but this course is basically to introduce the project management professional course, which we want to take it up, and how do we want to plan, how did we plan it, and how do we want to go with it. Okay, so today's agenda, first let's try to understand what is PMP, what are the benefits of taking this exam, how does it impact your current salary, directly coming to the point, and what is this exam structure, and how does it impact, uh, how do we prepare for the exam, so what is the course curriculum for that, and how will IT Learn team help you with the structure. So we will have a brief overview of these topics, and once we complete this, we can have a Q&A and look at few of the FAQs. Okay, if that sounds good. So what is PMP? So it stands for Project Management Professional. Many of you would be aware of it, whoever is joining this session, or probably if you have not, you're just trying to understand what is PMP means for. So it's a certification provided by the PMI organization, which is the Project Management Institute. It's a global recognized organization, and basically they work only on the project management. So you have seen like courses like ISTQB, which is specific for testing. Then we have various other organizations, Oracle, Siebel, SAP. Every organization has their own certifications, but this project management is one single thing which is irrespective of your technologies, whether it is IT technology, whether you are part of the actual manufacturing industry or any other kind of industry. Everywhere project management is always there and it will remain forever. So we are right now talking about a certification which will remain forever in any kind of industry. So we have like 250 million PMP certified professionals worldwide, and the number is growing every year as people are trying to understand how a project has to be managed. Okay, so who are the candidates? Who can take PMP, and what are the benefits of it? So the basic candidates are each and every professional who is dealing with project management, some kind of management activity in their day-to-day life. So when we start looking at the actual demo session, I mean the live session, you will really understand how the project management activities can be viewed in each and every core of our life, whether we are managing a software product or a project, or we are in any other industry, or even in our day-to-day activities. Everything is a project, and how we define that we can see very clearly how we were doing a project, how we can do, and how it can be done. That difference is provided by this certification. How can we better it? How can we make ourselves much more aligned to project management life cycle, and how can we provide best results from better to best? How do we move? That is what the PMP exam will provide you. It's just not a certification, but it will also support you in each and every phase of your life. Not just the professional, but as I explained, we will see that how does it help in our day-to-day activities as well. Okay, so currently the candidates, as I listed out, they are the project managers, all the system analysts, operations managers, all the test leads, and every manager in all the industries, irrespective of whether it is IT, whether it is manufacturing, or whether any other kind of industry. For every industry, whoever is working in the manager section, they are all eligible for this certification. Okay. So as I explained the benefits, various companies nowadays, people are changing the perspectives. So do we need PMP? Or few people say yes, we do need, but will it help our core activities? That's a question. Few say that it is not applicable to IT industry. Few say that it's okay, it's desirable, it's an advantage, it provides a plus to what we are doing, it's a preferred skill. So when you look at any project manager responsibilities, when we go for applying jobs in the market, we see different kind of statements. It's a preferred one, or it's a plus, even if it is not there. But that's slowly changing. The perception of that is slowly changing, and many of the companies, mainly if you're working for a offshore vendor supporting various clients in on-site, or you're in on-site and supporting your offshore vendor working directly with clients, you will see that it's becoming more mandatory to take PMP. Okay, and we will see in the session how it strengthens your project management knowledge. And just taking the certification is not is just not to have an additional certification, because this is a huge investment. When we look at the next slide, we will know how much does it cost for taking the certification. But when you actually take the certification, we can ensure that you are moving from the better to the best. That is what is the core we are trying to drive through this course so that you get a PMP certified as well as use and utilize which is both your professional and personal. Okay, and we will guarantee that once you complete the course with us, you will find the difference. Okay, so this course right now is a computer-based test which is provided through the Prometric test centers. As you see, it's similar to other courses. There is also a paper-based option, but the results would take time. It would take like 2 to 3 weeks to get that evaluated. But if it is through a Prometric center, you see that you get the results then and there itself. Okay, so as we go for the exam, so the exam structure, right? It's a very big exam of 200 questions. It's a wide exam, you can say. It's 200 questions, and it's for the duration is 4 hours. Okay, so that's very wide. And in that 4 hours, once you are in the Prometric center, you would be given few breaks in between if you intend to take, but will not be allowed to move out. And coming to the evaluation, it's 1 point for each, but we will never know the score of PMP because it's divided in a unique way. They have few process groups. They will never say that you got like 120 or 180 or such. They will say you're an excellent project manager, or you're moderate in each area, or you're below level. So that's the criteria which will come in your certification. But coming to that success, how do they determine that criteria, whether you were excellent or you are moderate or below average? They would evaluate like 175 questions, and the rest 25 are unscored. But we will not know when we are taking the exam, we will not know which questions are unscored. So we have to basically answer all the 200 questions irrespective of the areas, and the system will evaluate for us. And if there's 25, even they are correct or incorrect, that will not be evaluated. But we will not get to know by when we are taking the exam or after even we complete the exam. Okay, so as I said, this is a very big investment in terms of exam fee. It's $555 for a non-PMI member. So what is this non-PMI and PMI members? As I said, the PMP certification is provided by the Project Management Institute, PMI Institute. So if we register with them, they cost around $100 to $150 for 1 year. They would provide as a membership ID, and if we are a member of PMI, then the fee is $4 or $5, which is basically for the first year. If you are taking our exam within that 1 year, then it's hugely beneficial. It's not mandatory to be a PMI member, but if you are a member, it will add to this exam fees, and the other benefits are basically the knowledge base. So this PMI site itself has huge knowledge base of project management articles, and while we are preparing for the exam, if we are a PMI member, then it will add value add on various books. To refer the books, there is a huge knowledge base of books. There is a huge knowledge base of various articles, case studies provided by various project managers who are all PMI members. Okay, so we will look into that in much more detail once we move into the demo sessions and live sessions. To be a PMI member or not, what are the benefits and what are the value adds with that. Okay, So in terms of investment, it's just not about having this PMI membership, but in order to write the PMI exam, also we would need to have the course if you're doing with us or if you're doing with any other institute. So right now, if you serve for that, there are several REPs, which are registered educational providers, who charge like a boot camp of 4 days, which is from $2,000 to $3,000. And there are online courses available who also charge from $700 to $1,500 to $1,800 for the course. Okay, so providing the live sessions. So everything is a big investment, but this big investment would provide you the right direction of not just completing the certification, but, and as you see in the demo and live sessions, you would definitely find a difference in investing in such a big certificate. And not just in terms of investment of money, it is also investment of your time. How do we prepare for the exam, and then giving the mock sessions, writing as many exams you can which are there online or which are provided by the IT Learn team, and how do we form groups. Everything is investment in terms of time. So we can better understand that, okay, once we move into our sessions, we can better understand that how the course curriculum is taken and how do we prepare so that we really don't lose the investment which we are laying out. And to the team's best interest, I would say that the pass percentage for the first attempt is kind of 40-60, because it's not that PMP certification is very hard enough to complete, but it's just the perception of preparation. How do we go about the course? How do we prepare ourselves is what is missing. Due to that, lot of people actually miss PMP in their first attempt, and then they understand that, okay, this is the basic which I was missing in preparing myself, and they go for a second attempt. So if you go for a second attempt, there will be a reduction of $200, but you still have to pay. And per year, you can just take only 3 attempts per year. Okay, so by that you understand that it's a very strict organization, and you can really understand how critical the certification is for in the live market. Okay, and it's a valued, highly valued certification because they maintain all the standards even in writing the certification, and every year they are evolving the course curriculum. Like last year they came up with this curriculum which is a PMBOK 5. It's called as PMBOK 5, which is the base of this core curriculum. So whatever curriculum right now you're seeing on the screen, it's based on PMBOK 5. Till last year it was PMBOK 4. So there will be few basic changes from PMBOK 4 to 5. And right now the IT Learn course curriculum is based on PMBOK 5. Okay. So as we start the course, we will give an introduction to PMP in much more better way, and we'll try to cite the benefits. We'll try to see how PMI organization would help if you want to be a member or not, even if it is required. And then what is the actual project management framework which is defined by PMI organization. Okay, so when we come into the project management framework, irrespective of, as I said, how does it apply to our day-to-day activities, and how does it apply to our work-based activities, irrespective of your industry. So we'll try to understand that in the project management framework. So what is a project manager role? What exactly we have to do as a project manager? Everything would be covered in the framework. Okay. And then there are the process groups which are defined. So everyone understands waterfall model or agile model or whatever the model you are using in. So every project is kicked off, initiated, and there is a closure phase. So how do we move from our initiation to the close phase? We will understand that through these process groups. Okay. And as we move from our initiation to the close phase, there are various processes: cost, quality, risk. What is the risk which comes in? How do we communicate with each other about what is going on in the project? What is the scope of project? We always see that scope is not defined. So how do we define the scope? What is required to define the scope? And each piece of project management, each piece of each activity, and all the persons who are working, everything has to be integrated. So how do we integrate? We say that I don't have resources. I don't have enough resources. We listen to people saying, I don't find a project plan. I don't find a good visibility of what is happening, what is going on. So all that questions, how do we answer that questions as a project manager? That all process, what have to be followed in order to reduce that questions in our activities. And if when it comes to our day-to-day activities, if we are planning out for a vacation, how do we plan? What do we need to plan for a vacation? What is the cost which will apply for my vacation plan? So that includes whether I have to take a flight, whether I have to take a car, I'm going by road, what are the places. So every activity ultimately falls within these processes. Okay. So we will deep dive into each of these processes, and we will see how these apply to our day-to-day activities and to our project activities, and what are the best practices which we might be doing in current atmosphere where you're working on, or which you're not at all aware of. So we'll try to get the best of it. We will all share the inputs while we are doing it. It would be much of an interactive session to take up the live examples. So I was doing this in my organization, and this is the issue I got. So what would be the resolution? We'll try to be working in that mode. Instead of just providing knowledge on areas, we'll try to be more interactive and try to see how all these pieces can be put together to evolve ourselves to be a better and a best project manager in all the core activities. Okay? And apart from that, being an PMP certified means the project manager, you're managing people, you're managing the project, you're managing everything of it. So what is a professional responsibility? What is a social responsibility? Like a best example would be, if the code of ethics, we should not reveal the project details outside the company. Or let's say if you're on a vendor side, or you're on a client side, and you see that there are multiple vendors who are bidding on the project, so what do we do? Do we provide the cost and spend of each vendor to other vendor? So what is the kind of professional and social responsibility there? So for that, PMI has defined many sections, and this is part of the PMP exam to understand that the project manager basically understands the code of ethics. What is the conduct? How do we have to behave irrespective of industry? Okay, so that piece is quite important as the exam and even on the day-to-day activities. So what is my code of conduct? How do I do? How do I behave to be a better professional and a better individual? Okay, so that definition is provided in this professional and social responsibility. Okay, so apart from this forms the curriculum of the course in terms of PMP exam, but in addition to that, we will be providing the instructions to fill out the form. So how do we fill the form? It's a huge form to fill in for the PMP, and there are very less cases that it will be evaluated by the PMI group. They can reach out to the individuals, or they can reach out to various organizations where we have worked and we are placing our experience in the form. So we will provide you the instructions how to fill the form and the most important tips to pass the PMP exam. Okay, so as you are investing in the course and as you are investing in the exam, we will try our best and we guarantee you that you would pass in your first attempt. So how do we read through once we complete the course, as we are doing the live sessions, and after completing the course, how do we go about preparing yourself for the exam? So we'll provide all those tips to pass the exam. And what are your credentials to retain the PMP? As you complete your PMP, we have to retain the PMP exam. So we will have a deeper dive into that as we move into the demo sessions to understand what these credentials mean. But for now, this is what is a course curriculum we will have in our live and demo sessions. Okay. So how do we want to cover this course? The course structure we are planning to have is for 80 weeks, which is like 1 hour each day, 40 hours live session. Okay, so as I explained the topics already, the course curriculum is as per the PMI organization. And what is the prerequisite for you to take the PMP? Okay, so this basically, here's the eligibility. So if you have a bachelor's degree with you, then you have to provide like 4,500 hours of project management experience, which is like 36 months. Okay, so that's the primary eligibility requirement. And there are 35 contact hours of formal education, which has to say that you are taking the project management course from any recognized institute of PMP. So we will explain what that formal hours means. And then there is a secondary degree. If you are some kind of degree or diploma, then you should have at least 60 months. Okay, so when we are filling out the PMP form, we will validate this with you, and we will explain how this has to be shown in your PMP form. Okay, so that's the eligibility criteria to take the exam. And when it comes to our course, right, as we are moving with each week, we will have 8 mock tests per each one per week, wherein it will be a mock test as you complete the course, and you have the live sessions available as videos, and at the end you would have one full online test of 200 questions. Okay, so we can have that sample when we move into the demo session. On the demo session, you can see the first mock test, a simple mock test, which would be a sample for that day. So we will have similar mock test as we move on each week. And we can reduce the duration probably if everyone is okay to have like 2 hours or 1.5 hours per day, so which we can work out as we move during the session. Okay, and we will provide all kind of support. We are the forum based tech support, so you will, whatever queries you have, we will be answering all that, and we will provide complete support during the session. And after the session or sessions are completed, even then we will be available through the live videos, and we will be available to answer your queries. Okay, so that's the course structure which we are aiming in terms of completing this PMP certification. And that's for this today's session, and we are open to the question and answers for today's session.
Sirisha, thank you so much for presenting. Appreciate you walking us through the entire course structure. And just as a summary team, what we're trying to put together along with Sirisha is a course that one will give you all the learning that you need to go through the PMP certification training. Two, give you that support system that will let you practice with the tests, mock tests, live tests, and so on. And three, also all the guidance that you require through learning what you need and getting certified all through the way. All right. Thank you so much for all the efforts, Sirisha. I really appreciate you walking through these slides. And honestly, a lot of this content are the mandate for every one of us before we get into deciding if it is right, deciding if we are eligible for it, and then if we want to go in that direction of. So, team, at this moment, we are open for taking any questions. Since this is a large audience based sessions, we would recommend you to put your questions in the questions panel that you have, and then we can take your answers. In fact, while you go through putting your questions there, Sirisha has put together a few frequently asked questions that typically most of us would have as part of this, and I'll let Sirisha walk you through them. Sirisha, go on, please. So, why don't you quickly walk through some of these frequently asked questions and give the audience an overview from your side?
Yeah, Karthik. So coming to the fee structure for the course, so basically we are still working on that, and we'll provide the details as we move into the demo sessions, and we'll provide full details through mail chains. Okay, and as I explained, what is the eligibility criteria, as we already provided for the bachelor's degree, and if you have any other degree other than bachelor's 4 years, so the eligibility criteria is changing, and this is available in the PMI site. If we go for the PMP exam, if you look at the handbook, so it is readily available there. Okay, and validity of the PMP certificate, it's valid for 3 years once you complete it, and but to retain the certification after that, like after 3 years, within the 3 years you have to gain some 60 credentials. So how to gain these credentials will be part of the course. We will explain you that how to get that. It's very straightforward. uh, but if you don't get that 60 credentials in the 3 years, then whatever you got the certification of PMP will be invalid, and you have to again take the exam after 3 years. Okay, so that explains you basically how important is to retain our project management knowledge. So that's the main criteria which is driving this, and every time we see that things are evolving, and it's the project management is evolving in each and every area, and they really want to incorporate the best practices which are used widely in different levels in the project management. So that's the reason this certification has a limit of 3 years, so that every time a person who wants to be a real project management professional will evolve themselves with industry best practices. It's just not that I got the certification and we are done. It's involving ourselves to further move from better to best. That's what is the certification. Okay. And how do you want to maintain this 60 credentials? So as I said, we'll provide the details in our live sessions. And what kind of tests the IT Learns will be providing. We do have the mock test, and as I said, we have the live test, so we can have the sample during our demo sessions, which would be same as what we will have after each week of completing the course. Okay, so very basic question on what are the advantages of salary. So this is a basic statistic of without a PMP, the person might be getting a 75K, but with PMP certified, it just shoots up to 115K. And we have seen upper end of 185 to 225K based on the industry experience plus PMP. We have seen that it moves to up till 185K. Okay, so it basically also depends on the location where you are working on, and whether we are working for an offshore company supporting the clients, or whether we are directly working for the clients. So it all depends on that, on the salary statistics. But as per the industry standards right now, everyone is aiming to have a project manager at least to be certified as a PMP. Okay, so these are few of the questions. So we are open for the questions. I can answer them out.
So, Sirisha, in fact, if you see, there are about 3 questions already put there. I'm sure some of it is covered. Can you look at the question and answer widget area, please?
Sure. Looks like they're not popping up here, Karthik.
Right, let me ask those questions on their behalf. So, Imtiaz is saying, how valuable is PMP certification for a QA lead and future QA managers?
Very valid question. So for the QA lead and QM or a project manager or a QA manager, basically they are also managing the resources. They are managing the scope. They are managing the cost of the project. They manage the integration of various activities. It is not the integration phase of the waterfall model, but they are actually managing the integration of various activities which they are doing, right? So as I explained I'm so sorry. So as I explained the scope, the time, so you're providing the project plan from the testing perspective. So that's part of the process. Then you have the cost and the quality. Quality itself is a process. So whatever we are doing in terms of quality, and how do we improve the quality in terms of the project management activities, not just related to the QA activities. How do we quantify that? So there is a quantitative analysis and a qualitative analysis. So all that basics would be provided in this project management process. Okay, and most importantly, for any lead or any manager, irrespective of QA or dev, is the communication. How do we communicate with our internal managers? How do we communicate with the client? How do we communicate with business users? How does that communication impact the project? So, and understanding the stakeholders' requirements the scope, and what is the expectation of stakeholder, all that is applicable irrespective of QA or dev and any kind of industry. So as QA manages all these areas, and as they are part of all these areas, and risk. Right now, risk is one area where a lot of leads lack the knowledge. How do we quantify the risk, whether it is from QA or whether it is dev? So all these areas would add to your expertise as a QA lead and a QA manager. Did
Great,
that
thank you.
answer your query?
And again, just to add to it, just the fact that within the QA field, if you look at it, not everyone is a PMP certified. So there are the number of people who are in a QA line and PMP certified is very minimal. What that does is it gives that very special edge to people, right? If you look at, it's all about percentages. How many people are, let's say, QTP certified or Selenium certified? No, there's no certification for Selenium, or ISTQB certified, and so on. If you look at that percentage, and if you look at PMP certified within QA field, is very limited. That by itself talks about growth, much significantly higher salaries, and absolutely the roles that they would play. All right. Again, thanks, Sirisha. So I have one more question from Rashmi. It's basically Rashmi is saying that she has a bachelor's degree. She has about
Mm-hmm.
5 years in software testing experience, but she does not have the 36 months as a project management experience. Do you think that she can still take the course? In fact, I would rather add to the question: is she eligible to take a certification?
So, Rashmi, what we have to understand is whatever the core activities you have been doing for this 5 years, right? So, the bachelor's degree plus 5 years, uh, you are eligible for PMP directly. But coming to the project management, when we have to fill the form, we have to understand what kind of project management experience you have. So, if you're managing your day-to-day activities, as I'm showing the processes, so you're trying to provide the quality, you're trying to provide the scope, you're trying to define the time taken by you or your team and how you are adding to that. If you're doing any of these activities, quality, you're already doing it. And coming to scope management and time management, cost, risk, any kind of these activities, that means that you're a project management person. Okay, so any one of the callers who are there here, the team members, basically it's just not the project manager. As I said, any person who is doing any of these core activities are eligible to take this certificate. Okay, and we will evolve that criteria in exact way. How do we how when once you come into your demo session, you will understand that how this project management course is designed and what are the core activities. So you can relate that core activities to what you're doing in your current environment, and then you can take a decision if you will be able to write the exam and you are eligible for that. Okay.
Thank you, Sirisha. I appreciate that. So, all right, I think we're good. That's about it. I believe most of the questions are answered through the FAQ and through the session. And now we've reached towards the end of it. So, team, thank you so much for attending. Sirisha, thank you so much once again for going through all this slides and this valuable information. As the next steps, what's going to happen, team, is we will schedule the day one, day two. We will be sending an email with the details about it, and followed by which what we're gonna do is basically put the entire course structure, the pricing to it, and so on. And that way, you could take a decision as to how you want to take it forward. This video will be hosted on itlearn.com, and you will be able to view it back at a later point in time. So you should be seeing that tomorrow. thank you, audience. Thank you, Sirisha. Good night, good day, depending on where you are, and enjoy your rest of the week. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining in. Thank you. Thanks, Karthik.
Thanks, Sirisha. Take care. Bye then.